Rap Music Incorporated.
Commencing countdown. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Rap Music Inc. My name is Husky and I'll be your host for today. Today we have a very, very special guest, a man who will help you weave your way through all the tangles and the mismanagement of the music business. His name is Bert Padell. So sit back and enjoy the break and we'll be right back at you.
When I say freaky, you say high. Freaky, freaky. When I say let's get, you say high. Let's get high. Let's get high. Yo, here's a tune about the sunny name Renee that I met one day. On my way back from California, I be with shorty and she walking to the church. I tapped her on the shoulder. Excuse me, said I get your name. She said my name is Renee. Said I got a whole lot to say. Said make you walk into the subway. She said if you want, say yo, we started talking. I brought 2 drinks and 2 drinks. And we began walking. I had to see where the hell was that, cause like it was mad fast. So we must chat about for some that. She told me what she was the soul for. She wants to be a lawyer. In other words, shorty studies law. I tell her, shorty, I'm a writer. And now she's looking for the token. She took the package of the easy water. Come in her mouth when the name ring. I say, yo, I'm sure the technique, shorty rock. I do the same thing. But yet I usually blunt. She said I never fucking Philly blunts. Cause I heard that for Philly stunts. I said, nah, they burn slower. But now I really don't know you, but baby, later on, I'ma get the show. I get on love, is a law, got me live by. They my day on the wild, shorty had to die. I really know my ghetto princess, everything, so give it up for I get on love, is a law, got me live by. And they my day on the wild, my shorty had to die. I reminisce about my ghetto princess, everything, I give it up for
Welcome back. I have with me Mr. Bert Padell. Mr. Bert Padell, welcome to the show.
Well, my pleasure, my pleasure.
How are you today?
Good, good, thanks, and thanks for having me.
Wow. And so what is it you actually do for your clients? What services do you perform?
I'm a business manager that's a glorified accountant, and I take care of their taxes. That's if they let me take care of their taxes. I also take care of their finances. That's if they let me take care of their finances. I pay their bills, help them get mortgages, help them get renting of cars or something to that way. I help them get loans. I help them build something up so when the time comes that they have to leave the business, that they have something to show for it. but I'm only as good as they let me be. If they want to help everybody and to spend their money faster, than they make it, then I don't have a chance.
Wow. Do you think that from a business perspective that people you deal with have a good idea of the business side of the business that they're in?
I would say most of them don't. If somebody goes into this business, either in the music business or in the motion picture business, the first thing that they should get good, really good professionals. They should get a good lawyer, a good manager, and a good business manager, and a good booking agent. Those 4 ingredients could make it happen for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If they have that, then they got a chance, especially if they have talent.
Okay. Is there some system set up where someone who doesn't really know, who are not connected to the business, can find a good lawyer? Is there somewhere where they can look up and find, where they can reference entertainment attorneys or accountants?
Well,
kind of thing?
you can. You have to be lucky, just like anything else. For a music person, it would be very important. In the business that we're in, it's a business of associations, of who you know. And when you know the right people, that's how you get ahead. Naturally, there are exceptions, but if you know the right people and if you get the right honest people, then you'll have a chance really to make it. The best client that I've ever had in reference to when I started is a girl named Madonna. She listened to me, whatever I asked her to do, and she is very well secure in reference to dollars and cents. And now the other 4 ladies that I represent is Britney Spears, is Alicia Keys, Faith Evans, and Angie Stone.
When you have a new client, what's usually the foundation that you start with, and how do you build up from there?
I try to tell them that everything that we do, I want them to know what's going on. I want them to be aware of how things happen. Naturally, if you have a client that has a very poor record deal and a poor publishing deal, there's nothing much you can do because you're not going to make a lot of money. Normally, when the first record comes out, there's not too much money left over, in reference to making money. But if they really explode, then they'll make money. They might not make as much money as they should, but they'll make money. Like Britney Spears, worldwide, her first record sold 23 million copies.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
Alicia Keys is almost at 10 million.
Oh, wow. In general, do they start with a deficit? I mean, when the album is released, the costs obviously have been incurred for manufacturing and marketing, promotions.
That's correct.
Is it a large deficit that they usually start with?
Well, they start with the deficit because hypothetically it costs approximately anywhere between $400,000 and $600,000, to do a record, including an advance for the artist. And then there is marketing costs, then there's videos, and then there's tour support. So all that goes against the artist. Even though the video costs are only 50% recoupable, it still goes against the artist. So unless the artist has a halfway decent deal in reference to points, the normal artist today would get anywhere approximately 12 points. That's $1.20 a record. But they have to pay for the producer. Now, if you have some big-time producers and they get on the average of 3 or 4 points, total, net, so that means if they have 12 points and if they have to pay 4 points out, then it's 8 points.
Wow.
Then they have to pay a manager, which is 20%. So that's another 2 points off approximately. So that's 8 points, that's 6 points. And then if there's 4 people or 5 people in the group,
split that money.
And then they have to pay a lawyer and they have to pay a business manager. So there's not that much money. The only way it starts to happen is if they have really big success. If they don't have a big success, then they have to struggle.
Wow. You heard it first right here. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Bert Padell right here on Rap Music Inc. Welcome back to Rap Music Inc. We're sitting here kicking it with Bert Padell. You would tell me, we were talking about points, you know, and people throw that term around all the time. What does that mean?
Points mean that's how an artist gets paid on every unit that's sold, every record that's sold. And normally, people like Michael Jackson, they might get 22 points. 22 points could mean $2.20 an album, that every album that's sold. So figure it out, when he sold 45 million times that by 220, you figure out how much money he made. It's a lot of money. And an artist, a new artist gets anywhere 12 points, 11 points, 10 points. And if there's a lot of people that are in the band, if it's a group of 3 or 4, you know, they're not going to make that much money.
Wow. Where's the rest of the points go? Where the majority of the 80, the 90 points?
Oh, the points stay with the record company.
And they still recoup from the artists for the cost that they put out.
So you must realize this is a democracy, but it's really not a democracy, because the artist pays for everything and the record company owns everything. The artist pays for the recordings, for everything, for the videos and so forth. They don't own the masters. The masters are owned by the record company, which is really a fallacy.
Times, you know, in today's times, I mean, are people updating contracts? So I know contracts are something that's standard. Everybody pretty much uses a standard format. Are things changing? Like many years ago, they had something called breakage, that, you know, for shipping and breakage.
But you see, everything is called supply and demand. Years ago, there was a guy named David Bowie. When he first started out with RCA, he had a regular contract. And as he got bigger and bigger, his contract, you know, was over. So in order to re-sign him, he said, I want to own my masters. So they wanted him very badly. So they re-signed him and gave him the right to own the masters after a period of time. So then he became a very wealthy man, because after a period of time, he owned all those masters. Wow. And they were still making money. Besides his royalties as an artist, he made the bulk of the money as the record company, because he owned the masters.
When the record company owns the masters, do they give a percentage to the artist?
See, the artist always gets money so long as a record is sold, and so long as they have recouped all the cost. That's why when you see an artist do a Christmas album is forever. And if they put out that Christmas album every Christmas, and if everything is recouped, all the recording costs are, the artist will make some kind of money. That's almost like a pension plan for the artist. Because every time White Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, etc., is going to come out, and people are going to buy it.
Also, and I heard that sometimes they hold a certain amount of recording artist sales for returns.
No, they call that reserves. They call that reserves, and reserves mean when they ship out certain amount of units, and they pay you on the royalties on things that are sold. But they also say, depending on the artist and depending on how strong the artist is, they would say, we're going to withhold 40% of the sales against returns. And we will release those reserves every 6 months, 25% of those reserves. Now, a major artist should only have about 10 or 15% reserve, because most of the time all their records are going to be sold.
Do you encourage people that you represent to take a big advance, or do you encourage them to try to not to spend the record company's money?
I always try to tell them to take as much money as you can, because possession is power. And if you can make money, have the money, and then invest it wisely and live accordingly, you can have something. And if you're an artist that's going to sell records, then you will recoup, and then you'll start to make again.
Wow. Is the money in the actual record sales, or is it in the publishing side?
Well, it is two different animals. Again, it all depends what type of record deal you have. If you're a single artist and you have a 10-point deal, you're not going to become wealthy. You're going to make money, but you're not going to become wealthy. But if you wrote all your songs, the words and the music, you get approximately about 72 cents, 73 cents an album, for publishing and writers' royalties. So you're going to make some money besides that. And broadcast, every time they play it on the radio, every time they play it on the television, you're going to make money. That's called broadcast money. That's either ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC that they give you monies. So you have a chance to make good money if you're a writer and record at the same time.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to take a short break. As you can see, you don't want to move. There's a lot of information being dropped here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on Rap Music Inc.
Yeah, Moolah-ism. Yeah, check it. Yo, hey yo, hey yo. First off, my ambition is epic, and my drive didn't arrive from a child neglected. I had the best. Guess jeans, Jordans was fresh. In the meantime, Tommy Hill button up on my chest. Aqua Green Columbia, bugaboo on the neck. Half moon in my fade and intelligent specs. Orange box cutter, never know when niggas are front. With me and get $1.50 if you want. Black Jansport, different color strings on the zipper. Such a fool, cutting school, getting high with my niggas. Back then it wasn't sour, Dro was in power. Blended with the wood, I was good for about an hour. But now we only do the finest. Amon the Brick Knock or the Hennessy Timeless. House Glendoras, crap table scorers. Moving around foreign towns like we ain't tourists. Comfortable, that's what the Bucks would do. These letters I knit together got me in better sweaters than Cliff Huxtable. Now they call me Uno for a reason. The one-man army does its own squeezing. Go ahead, choose your fate. Make me use the 8 you and this B to have something in common. Losing weight, I'm one of the greats. If they don't find me and sign me, I probably end up in the state. Breaking bread with the homie Red Dread, or found dead. Sprayed with the Uzi, sent to kick it with Big Toonie. So feel me before they kill me. I was born in money earning, but the projects murder filled me. This is the real me. None of that buffoonery, shucking the Java industry coonery. I say it now and I say it again later. If I ain't one of the best, you just some hate.
Welcome back to Rap Music Inc. And we concluded the last segment talking about the deals, a little bit the royalty points. Is there a difference between the deals of R&B artists or rock artists as opposed to rap artists?
Again, it all depends on the legal representation that you have, to the talent that's involved, and the wanting by the other record companies of hearing about that artist that they want, and then there becomes a bidding war. I want you, I want you, I want you, so therefore your scale will go up. But it's so important to have the right representation. I have to tell you that. It is so important, because you can get a lot in your contract if you have an experienced music lawyer, an experienced one. And if you have an experienced business manager and an experienced manager, then the record company respects you because they know that this artist has talent, and look at the talent that they have in the background with all the professionals. Now, if you have the same 3 people that have no experience, then the record company gives you a record contract, maybe 40, 50 pages, which an experienced lawyer would rip to shreds, when an inexperienced lawyer will knock out maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pages. That's all. Wow. So it's so important. I just can't begin to tell you. It really is.
Yeah, and taking that a little further, do you think like once the record companies see that you have a reputable representation, do they tend to deal with you a little bit better?
Oh, yes. Yes, they respect you much. There are so many great lawyers in this business, really, and they have a lot of respect for them. But if you had Louis Lump Lump that no one ever heard of, they're not going to have any respect for him. Sure, they'll have respect generally, but not like if you had Reuben Dursky and Schindler or Fred Davis or Londell McMillan, you understand?
Yeah.
There, if you had those type of guys, they'll know what to do, you know.
If an artist, say, is getting 10 to 12 points on a deal and their album or single goes gold, what kind of income can they expect they'll be looking at?
If they got 10 points and they would make 10 points and they would make $500,000. Now the record would cost $500,000, so far that's zero. Now they would put in reserve 40%, so that's $200,000 they would put away, so now you're minus $200,000. Now they did videos, and say the videos, 50% of it was recoupable, it cost $100 grand, now you're $300,000. Now they gave you tour support, and they gave you $100,000. Now you're minus $400,000. Then they gave you independent promotion, and they gave you another $100,000. That's $500,000 in the red. You understand?
Wow.
Now I said 10 points, but you didn't pay the producers yet. So now you pay the producers approximately $100,000. Now you're $600,000 in the red.
In the hole.
That's correct.
And you win gold.
That's correct. Gold is nothing anymore.
Wow. So, what's the lure for somebody who wants to get into this business?
No, that is to be something different. The business needs great music, wants great music. It's hungry for it. It needs it. Do something different. Make it happen different. Just recently, the Osbournes on MTV, that show.
Yeah.
He was around a long time. He did something different. He showed the public how they live, which is the truth. They're good people, but this is how they live. This is how they react. And the public jumped to it. Now they just re-signed for another year because the public wants something different. They want great music. They need great music. And they're hungry for it. The problem is that you don't have great music anymore. At one time, you had people sampling everything. Everything that you heard was sampled. Now they're changing it. Now it's not going to be sampled. When you sample, then you're not doing great music.
You're absolutely correct. Well, let's go back to a break, and we'll come back and close it up with Bert Padell right here on Rap Music Inc. Welcome back, guys. Well, you know, I mean, it was a great show. What closing advice could you give to the kids out there who are thinking about getting into this business? And you know, you offered a lot of points, but what points do you really want to leave with people who are watching this show and interested in getting in this business?
That don't sign any papers on anything that someone gives you unless you have the right representation. Don't sign a piece of paper at all until you get somebody that can represent you. And if you're in the music business, get somebody that's a music lawyer, a music business manager, a music manager. That's what you need. That's so important. That's the best advice anyone can give you. Just don't sign blindly, because if you do that, you're going to result someday in the future, you're going to say to yourself, why did I do that? That's the best advice I can give you.
Wow, wonderful. I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us.
My pleasure.
I know your time is very, very valuable.
Time about the money, grind for them days it ain't sunny. You niggas look funny, you niggas ain't getting no money. Grind through the winter, fall in the summertime. Dollars on the market, money all the time. Cold winter nights. Dollars all the time, get money all the time. Money all the time.
Murderville, call it Vietnam. Where if it's beef, niggas see your mom. Give me the chain, I don't need a charm. Cold streets and cold summers. Run the street like road runners. Yup, we got the weight, come get a load from us. They want beef, I'm like, how, nigga? Huh? They want beef, or get these niggas a cow, nigga. Niggas only do what you allow. Free my cousin, man, kill a cow. How is it that I met my cousin on a visit? I gotta get it, trying to live it up. Got boss bread on my fitted what?
Ain't shit funny, I don't waste time about the money. Grind for them days it ain't sunny. You niggas look funny, you niggas ain't getting no money. Grind through the winter, fall in the summertime. Dollars on the market, money all the time. Cold winter nights.
Yeah, boss bread be up.
Money all the time, money all the time.
I ain't for the nonsense. Something like Kobe, a shooter with no conscience. Boss spread ABG, but no Don shit. Strapped with my own, don't need flex to bomb shit. Boss like 3 grams of wax from a bong hit. I'm loopy, nigga. Something like the East Coast Snoopy, nigga. Mac with the ladies, love the groupies, nigga. As my fan base grow, watch the group.